running around crazy. You know, I got a few days before I go back up to the North Country, and you know, I'm sure you guys have been through it. Home Depot hell, Bed Bath and Beyond hell, all the different locations that you have to jump around to when you're moving. So far, the birds aren't screaming yet. You know, the mourning doves. Maybe it's the afternoon. Wait, I'm hearing a little bit of some mourning doves. You hear that? Yeah, there's one out there. Not as loud as the other place, but nonetheless, they're still around. People are always educating me as, those are called mourning doves, Bill. Well, now I know. I'm educated. I know what a mourning dove. Woo, woo, woo. Sherry, Nevada, good morning. Susie, good morning. Linda Daughtry, Jeff Litwiller, hello, good afternoon, Bill. You know, guys, it's crazy, but you know, I don't know. I get when I move, I get a little bit stressed. And even though I'm going home, Friday I'm going home to the north, but I'm still have to move out of one place to the other. And then they want you to do this, do that. It's like I list 10 checklists I got to do. Turn off the water, do this, do that. You know, and I get a little stressed out. I don't know. I've never been, you know, too mechanically inclined. Not that closing a house should be that mechanical. It's not. But yeah, you guys know what I mean, right? They always say that moving, even though this isn't really a move, it's just moving from one place to the other and going back home. They always say, don't tell me Willa's pony is here. She doesn't say hello. Willa's pony, how are you? Well, I plan to go back home up north for 6 months and then come back here for the winter. That's the game plan. You know, I don't need any more New York winters. North Country. If you're traveling to the North Country Fair, where the winds are heavy on the borderline, remember me to one who lives there, 'cause she was once a true love of mine. And if you go where the snowflakes fall, the rivers freeze and the summers end, please see for me, she has a coat so warm that keeps her from the howling winds. If you're traveling in the North Country Fair, it's not actually the North Country, New York, but it's in the winter. It's pretty damn cold. So I'm going to do a show tonight, guys, and I partially want to come on. Willa's pony, there you are. How are you? Good to see you. You riding those horses into the sunset, YLZ pony? I went horseback riding a couple of times, and I always wound up the opposite of the horse. You're supposed to be like in rhythm with the horse. I would always be coming down as the horse was going up, and I'd be like, I really got the hang of it. And I was like, imagine, like, you know, running, having the horse run. You got Supreme Commander, YLZ pony, good to see you. Imagine really galloping with the horse. You better be in sync, or you're gonna be hurting, you know. And I'm sure YLZ pony must be a great equestrian. That's what it's called, right? Equestrian. But me, I don't belong on a horse. I belong maybe taking them by the reins and walking them to the paddock. Is that the correct lingo? I don't even know horse lingo. I'm sure there's a whole lingo to horses. So guys, Madeline Kingsbury has not been found, has not been recovered. I believe today is day 26. She went missing on March 31st. We pray that they find her. I notified her sister Megan that EquiSearch Midwest, EquiSearch Texas, which are the same organization, they're waiting for a call. They're ready to go there and to search. But again, I say this ad nauseum, they will not go to a location to search unless they're requested by the family and or the police from that location. So they haven't been requested, so they're not going to just show up there uninvited, unwanted. So Megan, if you're listening to this, Megan Kingsbury, or anyone can reach out to her, that EquiSearch is still available to help out, and they're ready, willing, and able as soon as they get the call. So tonight we're going to cover a little bit of the Lori Vallow trial, and I covered that case probably about a year ago, but it's really a sort of a scary case, you know. Like, I mean, you think of all the murders this woman's been involved in, and then you put in with that the cult-like mentality there, that, you know, you mix crazy religious beliefs, and I don't goof on any or criticize any religion, but this is nutty, you know. And how much of her, she's not insane, she's responsible for her actions, no doubt, but how much of that is a little bit of craziness, you know? Killing 2 kids, killing her new husband, you know, his wife, killing her husband, and killing her brother. So we're talking 5 people here. Pretty crazy, right? Pretty nuts. I can't believe that that they're doing that. That's what she's on trial for, you know. And then, what was it about? Was it about money? Was it about religion? Was it about sex? What was it about? It's just a crazy case. And sick and evil, Jeff. Yeah, sick and evil. I mean, how do you kill your kids, you know? Wilesy Pony, you know something, Wilesy? You're right. If there's a time, and some ducks are walking, just walk past me behind them, like I see these ducks, I'm like, oh, the birds are following me over here, you know? Yeah, if there's time in between the murders, absolutely, that would be a serial killer. The definition is 2 or more murders, but separated by time. You know, if you do them all at once, that's not a serial killer, that's a mass killer, right? The prosecutor said it was about power, money, and sex. Yeah, well, that's what's going to draw the YouTube audiences, right? You mentioned those words, and the audience will get crazy and just they want to watch it because it's about that, you know. But we're going to examine that tonight, and I just want to let you guys know I have a great group with me tonight. I got Detective Phil is coming back, and the new internet YouTube star that even Duty Ron used last night, and that's Melanie Little, the attorney. She's very popular. People really like her, you know. And I discovered Melanie, if I could call it that. But I know Melanie from my acting class. I took an acting class with Melanie, and we've been friends for, you know, I don't know, maybe, I said 10 years once. It hasn't been that long. It's been more like, what was it? Maybe it's like 6 or 7 years we've been friends. Vet Girl, good to see you. Jeff Litwell, ooh, be a good show tonight for sure. Sherry Hill, again, there's Melanie. Melanie fans. Vicky O'Quinn, thumbs up and clapping. You have to hate them. Orange, who are you referring to? Agati, all you guys. Yeah, so, yeah, Melanie is going to be a new YouTube star. A star, I say, you know. And I can see all you guys really like her a lot. And how could you not like her? Mystique, hello. Guys, this is Police Off the Cuff. Real crime stories, coffee with Cannon, backyard beverage, bitching with Bill, whatever you want to call this show. But I'm just happy to have everyone here. Wilesy Pony, yes, a great panel tonight. Detective Phil, Melanie is so well spoken and informed. Guys, I just want you to know I posted some pictures on Instagram and Facebook yesterday and TikTok, and I got to teach a class at St. Thomas University in Miami, in northern Miami, and I want to thank publicly Dr. Debbie Goodman, who's been a guest on our show at least 4 or 5 times, and she invited me to teach at least 2 classes there, and it was fun. If you guys haven't followed me, I taught college for 10.5 years, part-time for like 5, and full-time for 5 years. So I saw, you know, once you do something and you know how to do it and you go do it again, it comes right back to you. You know, I was there asking the students questions, telling jokes, entertaining them. I hope keeping them interested. And I presented a double homicide case from the 2-3 precinct from December 1st, 2001, which is also going to be on the TV show New York Homicide. And I filmed an episode of that a couple of months ago in Fort Lauderdale. And so that's the case. So I presented that case via PowerPoint to the students at St. Thomas University. And I think they enjoyed it. I think they liked it. Wow, you taught. That's awesome. Hey, Cannon, thank you. Yeah, that's what they could. My students at Monroe used to just call me, hey, Cannon. You know, it wasn't Professor Cannon. It wasn't Mr. Cannon. They just screamed out across the hall, hey, Cannon. And in sort of a strange way, that was their way of showing love, that they loved me, you know. Hey, Cannon. Some of the other professors didn't like that when they screamed out your last name, but I actually found it amusing and found it somewhat endearing in a way, you know. Well, I mean, you know, do you have to be called by, you know, hey, Sergeant Cannon, or hey, Professor Cannon, you know, and they respected me. So as long as there was respect and they screamed across the hall, hey, Cannon, that was cool. Wild Z Pony, my favorite movie star, the Supreme Commander. Can I ever escape noise? I get someone banging on something, you know. Everywhere I go, there's noise. Just when I thought they was out, they pulled me back in, you know. That was from The Sopranos. In case you guys didn't know where that came from. I frequently pull sayings from movies, you know. The other day I was doing a short little, my 1 minute good morning. And I remember I said, I have my Johnny Fontaine tan. And for all you movie buffs, Johnny Fontaine was the singer in The Godfather who went to Don Corleone and asked him to try to get him this part in this movie because it would make him a big star. And that's when The Godfather says, you can start by acting like a man! And he starts smacking him around. That was a great scene. And of course the scene where Robert Duvall, playing the part Tom Hagen, goes to see the movie producer, the big director, and he insisted, Johnny Fontaine does not get that part. So I just thought it was a funny scene, and sometimes I pull out lines from movies. And guys, if you're around my age, you usually get it. Yesterday I brought up, when I was teaching, I said, oh, they'll hire Jacoby and Myers, and the only one that got it was a professor sitting in the back who started bursting out laughing. None of the kids knew who the hell Jacoby and Myers were. And Jacoby and Myers, of course, were lawyers, and they had commercials on in the New York area and nationally, I guess, all over the place. So you couldn't help but say, oh, Jacoby and Myers. Hugo Stiglitz, just leave the gun, take the cannoli, one of the most famous lines from The Godfather. Absolutely, of course, and everyone knows, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Maybe a good thing to live by, but that was that was the advice in The Godfather. And he also, one of the greatest things, and I did it with Phil when we were together in Deerfield a couple of weeks ago, and I just said to Phil before, I said, Phil, the guy who approaches you and wants to arrange a meeting, that's the traitor. And Phil was supposed to say, I know, Pop, I know, Pop. And that was supposed to be Don Corleone talking to his son, Michael. And then he apparently had told Michael that already. And Michael goes, hey, I know, Pop, I know. Michael, the guy who approaches you and wants to arrange a meeting, he's the traitor. Jeff Litwell, Abraham Lincoln said that. No kidding. Maybe they stole that line from Abraham Lincoln. Could be, right? Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. It makes a lot of sense, right? Because you want to know what your enemies are doing. But in one way, that's sort of living like a negative life. Like, you know, I don't want to even know what my enemies are plotting against me, you know? Maybe if you're a mobster, you do, because that could potentially be your last ride in the back of a car, you know? They say in the mob, you know, when we had, God, it's got to be close to a year and a half, 2 years ago, we interviewed Sammy the Bull Gravano, and we took some criticism for that, you know. And Abe Lincoln also loved cannolis. I don't know if they invented cannolis back when Abe was anyway, yeah, so we took a little heat because people were like, you cops, why are you interviewing a killer? He killed 19 people. I was like, you know, when I was a sergeant in, there are people who would pay money for information, but then a daughter would lose a father. That's great, Lieutenant Pete. And that, of course, is Michael Corleone talking to the father of Apollonia. I even remember her name. I've watched that movie so many times. She maybe would lose a father instead of gain a husband. Whoever wrote, well, the book The Godfather was written by Mario Puzo, an amazing book, but I think the screenplay was written by both Mario Puzo and Francis Ford Coppola, who of course was the famous director that wrote that movie, you know, with Mario Puzo. So Betty Spaghetti, 73 in the chat, 43 with the thumbs up. So glad you guys are joining me this morning. As you guys know, and maybe I shouldn't dwell on this, but the reason I haven't been coming on very often, I've been so busy this last couple of weeks doing a million things with, you know, getting ready to leave and everything, because I'm driving back to the North Country by myself. So that's a long ride, I guess. You know, I did it with my son the last time, and believe it or not, he did most of the driving. So out of 19 hours, I maybe did 7. He did like 12. So this time it's going to be all me, but I'm going to take my time. I'm going to just, you know, I'm coming home, I took my time, and I got to know who is and isn't mine. I sang that yesterday. People were like, why are you going to sing that song? It reminds me how old I am. Well, I'm just as old, you know. So Kim Alliston's in the house. Good to see you, Kim. I love that there's such a great camaraderie in the chat with you guys. Tony Orlando and Dawn, you remember them? Betty Spaghetti, stop at south of the border on your way back if you're driving. I stopped there years ago. I'll tell you, I was 19 years old. And I was driving back from Florida with 3 friends in a little Ford Mustang convertible. And we stopped at south of the border. But when we stopped, it was freezing out. You know, unbelievable. I think it was in like February or something. It was really freezing. Wilesy Pony, hashtag police off the cuff family. POTC, yeah, you know me. We're down with POTC, yeah, you know me. I used to burst into a rap sometimes in front of my class, and they would just laugh. You know, my classes were 99% black and Hispanic kids, and I'd do a rap, and they'd say, Cannon, you're funny, you know, but you can't rap, you know. It was a good day. I didn't have to use my AK. None of my friends got killed today. It was a very good day. And of course the class would be hysterical. So that sort of ingratiated me with my classes. In fact, I was telling the kids yesterday, you missed my rap, Wilesy Pony. I was telling the kids yesterday, I was explaining the precinct, the 2-3 precinct, which of course is Spanish Harlem, El Barrio, you know. And there was a bunch of kids in the class that were Hispanic. And I was like, there is a rose in Spanish Harlem. And of course, they all knew that song. I said, that song is about the 2-3 precinct in Spanish Harlem. And they were all like, ooh. You know, it's like one time when my son was a little boy in nursery school, I came in with my guitar and I sang Feliz Navidad, and all the Spanish kids loved it. They were like, he speaks Spanish. I go, no, I don't. I just know the words to Feliz Navidad. I do not speak. I made it to Spanish 101. That's about how far my Spanish takes. I wish I did know Spanish. I used to marvel at going to the precincts in Manhattan North, the 3-3, the 3-4, the 2-3 to 2-5, and see how some of the detectives learned Spanish just from working in the precinct there, you know. Martha Mina, just in, Bill, where are you today? I'm in the new condo that I'm moving into. That's why you don't recognize this setting behind me. I'm actually sitting in, I don't know what this is called. It's like an enclosed glass. It's not a lanai, it's a little like deck. Spanish Harlem is the 2-3 precinct, the 2-3. See, if you guys don't know in policing, the reason you don't say 23, because on the radio, if you say 23, it could sound like a lot of different things, you know. It could sound like 3-3. It It could sound like I don't know. The letters get confused. So you always say 2-3, 3-3, 3-4, 1-9. 2-0, 2-0. Central Park. That's self-explanatory. There's no number there, but that's how you would 2-4, 3-4. You wouldn't say 24. 24 precinct because Sherry Hill, I miss payphones, taking that squawking cell phone everywhere. I wish I had one. Tina Wright, good to see everyone. 77 in the chat, 57 with the thumbs up. The other day I did a Coffee with Ken. We did great. I mean, I think there was like 160 people in the chat, which was great because I hadn't been on in a while. And it was great that that many people came by. I was really happy. Katerina Fordlova, a Florida room. I guess that's what it's called, right? 2-3. Well, the New York City Police Department has 75 precincts, and the lowest number is 6. The 6. So they would probably say 06 precinct, 06 precinct, or 9th, 09, 10th, 10. 10 Adam on the radio, Then, of course, they would have Midtown North and Midtown South. And I believe Midtown North, the South's number is the 18th. So they would say 18. Or they might just say South Adam on the air, Princess Mitch, good to see you. Majored in Spanish. That's great. I went once to Costa Rica with a friend of mine to take a week Spanish immersion class. It was totally wasted on me. His brother was supposed to go 75 precincts, yes, Wild Z Pony. And the highest numbers are in Queens. They have 100, 112, 109, 113, 105, 4-6 precincts. No, Pablo Cicada, Fort Apache was the 4-1 precinct. I guess they still call it, but back in the day, the 4-1 precinct was crazy. Peter Pranzo, the 3-2. Peter Pranzo's always proud of working and having been a lieutenant in the 3-2 precinct, one of the proudest precincts in the New York City Police Department. The 3-2. Some great cops. Unfortunately, last year they lost 2 cops in the line of duty. 2 officers were killed. There's a whole memorial wall of cops that lost their life in the 3-2 precinct as you enter the precinct. Very sad, So, yeah, very proud precinct, the 3-2. As well as someone mentioned the 4-6. 4-6 is a rockin' precinct, and very proud precinct. So, guys, tonight at 9 p.m., if you can make it, I'm going to be on with Detective Phil and attorney Melanie Little, and we're going to talk about the Lori Vallow trial and talk about, is this or was this a cult? Is she crazy? Was she brainwashed? How could you be responsible for the deaths of 5 people and be a normal person, That's where the slippery slope comes in, is that you don't want someone basically named by the court insane, because then they'll claim they're not responsible and try to get the insanity plea. And you never want that. But when you think about someone that can do what Lori Vallow did and Chad Daybell, there's got to be some kind of mental illness there, wouldn't you think? Tina Wright, yes, the pool is open, and this new place has a jacuzzi that gets hot, really hot. I love jacuzzis, especially when you're sore from working out or something, or your arthritis is kicking in like me in both of my shoulders. Do you think Bethany will No, something natural. There's a lot of noise on the internet right now, and the fact that Bethany was subpoenaed, something, they may have subpoenaed it just because she's traumatized and she doesn't want to be a witness. So they're making a big deal out of it. Look, there's enough evidence right now. And when people are suggesting and mostly YouTube content creators, oh, this could be the smoking gun that gets, he's not getting off, trust me, all right? They have tractor trailers full of evidence against Bryan Kohberger, I predict, that they haven't uncovered yet. Just the fact that he had one of the IDs of one of the victims in his glove compartment of his car, how did that get there? Did the police plant it there? Come on. And this is, I know there was an attorney, I forget the guy, the lawyer, whatever he calls himself. Some of these people, what they post is basically irresponsible, News Nation does a lot of that too. I mean, I saw the other day Cuomo did a show with Jennifer Koffendorfer and this woman who was a behavioral analyst, and she's pretty good. But he advertised the show as breaking news. It was something we did 3 months ago. I was like, that's so unfair that they're putting out there breaking. There was nothing breaking about it. Again, we did that 3 months ago, and this guy's coming out like it's breaking news. Just it's not good. And as far as the subpoena, I was seeing that duck walk by again. He was just moseying, like he had nowhere to be this afternoon. So no, I'm not buying that. These people put this stuff up. Sometimes they put it up there to get clicks. Sometimes these TV stations put this sensational stuff up, again, to get audience. And there's nothing new that they're putting out right now that they haven't done 2 or 3 months ago. But there hasn't been, because of the gag order, there hasn't been new information coming out. So that these people, they think that they have to restate stuff that's already been put out there, Viv Keenan, they have legit paperwork. Yeah, no, I know that. They have paperwork. They have a subpoena calling her in. But why would they subpoena a witness for a hearing? That's what I want to know. If she's a really important witness, they can hold off to the trial, And if she's being subpoenaed by the defense, this is not going to be the smoking gun evidence. And, I don't know what they're trying to prove bringing her in for the hearing, and they want to bring her into Idaho. Again, they could interview her via Zoom or another way. They don't have to bring her into Idaho. And look, both of these witnesses, DM and they've been traumatized by this, Tina Wright, I think she just went back home. She was a student and she went back home. So, Duty Ron covered that last night with Melanie Little, and they spoke about their feelings upon it. And I didn't really look deeply into it, but I was speaking to Duty Ron about it. And Kylie Rodney, do you guys remember the Kylie Rodney case? Do you guys remember it? Give me a 1 if you remember the Kylie Rodney case. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember it, all right? So the Kylie Rodney case, there was all kinds of nonsense on this case. We said day one, she drove the car into the lake herself. It was an accident. And there was all kinds of conspiracy theories. She was killed. The killer could be drowned in the car with her. There was this, even Adventures with Purpose was made some spurious remarks about it. And then they had to admit they were wrong. She drove the car into the water, as myself and Duty Ron said from day one. And we were excoriated for that. Oh, these New York cops don't know what they're talking about. They don't know about Claire. Well, they don't know. They're too old for this. They were making all these statements. I was like, do you believe this crap, Ron? And guess what? We were 100% right from day one. And, I don't want to just say, oh, I told you so, but we were right. From day one, we were right. Fire Opal, people hanging on anyone who dared say she died accidentally. Exactly. People wanted to believe that the Kylie Rodney case was a big conspiracy. EJ, hey, Ken, I love your show. Just want to say with the Vallow case, when I think about how you did it, you would get away with all these murders. I think that people that commit murders like these, I think thinking about getting away with it is an afterthought. Something drives them to do it. Yeah, do they want to get away with it? How did Chad Daybell convince the authorities not to do an autopsy on his wife? How did he convince them that? That's crazy, right? A healthy woman in her 40s, she was a runner, dies unexplainedly, and they don't do an autopsy? That is crazy, right? 107 in the chat, 76 thumbs up. Guys, if you're not subscribed to Police Off the Cuff Real Crime Stories, go on our YouTube, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, make comments, hit that like button. We love to read your comments. We love to respond to your comments. 112 in the chat, 77 with the thumbs up. Lieutenant Pete agrees with us. You know, the one. He watched the Kylie Rodney thing. And Rick Borgia, I'm doing well, Rick. I'm doing very well. You know, sort of looking forward to going back home. Home is home, you know, even though I had a great winter here. I missed the whole Northeast. Princess Mitch is going to tune in tonight. Good for you. Hi, to YouTube, Viv Keevan. Yeah, so it's a lot of things we read about, we hear about on YouTube. It's some of the stuff isn't that accurate. And look, what is the guys? You hear us talk about this ad nauseum. What is the job of the defense? What is the job? It's to create doubt. So that's what they're doing. They're doing their job. They're trying to create doubt. In the case of Bryan Kohberger, I invite everyone to rewatch the episode we did on Howard Bloom, who's writing a book on the Idaho murders, and I hate to refer to it as the Idaho murders. Ethan Chapin, Zaina Knodel, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Gonsalves, the 4 students that lost their life during that case. And a guy named Howard Bloom is writing a book about that, and he's written several articles. He's championing Bryan Kohberger like he's this hero. And he said something that so angered me. He said, he was so cool. He was so cool, calm. He was much smarter than law enforcement. When you see his face, when he was pulled over by the Indiana State Police on the body cam photo, he looked like a deer on the first day of hunting season. That's how cool he was. And I pointed that out to Mr. Bloom. Go watch that. Are you kidding me? He was cool? That's the last thing I would say of coolness. The deer headlights look, he looked like that twice. On both times he was pulled over. He also believed the FBI had said they had nothing to do with him getting pulled over. I happen not to believe that. I happen to believe the FBI choreographed those car stops using law enforcement. So, do I know that for a fact? No, but I'm predicting they did that. And they're not admitting to it. That's fine. The FBI never lies, as we know, right? But I believe that the police in Indiana and the other police organization that pulled Bryan Kohberger over was asked to do that. Ali Brooke, he wasn't just annoyed, he was terrified. He had this look. You know, that's cool, calm and collected. And how about the route he took? He took a route that took him probably a day longer of driving. Is that what, in the words of Mike Geary, Professor Mike Geary, is that consciousness of guilt? Was he trying to avoid the police? Was he trying to avoid car stops? And he still got pulled over because the FBI was tailing him. And to think that, oh, they didn't put law enforcement on him to pull him over. They wanted to see certain things. Did he have cuts on his hands? What did he have inside his car? What was his demeanor when he was pulled over? I think they wanted to know all those answers to all those questions. Guys, I don't recognize any people on here to being new. I see all the names I'm seeing people that I know. Once more for the kids, Bill, deer and headlights, except you spelled deer wrong. Deer is D-E-E-R. Deer, D-E-A-R, deer. So it's so easy to make that mistake, you know. Deer, D-E-E-R, as to D-E-A-R. But Viv, right, exactly, Viv, D-E-E-R. But that's okay. You know what one of the hardest things, and I don't make it all the time, but once in a while, right? T-H-E-R-E, T-H-E-I-R, or T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. That is the most common mistake, to use the wrong word. Tina Wright, oh, it's time for you to sing. I've been trying to, like consciously pick up my guitar more often and play more. Because, anyone that plays an instrument, whether it's piano, guitar, harmonica, anything, if you don't play all the time, you lose it. And in guitar, you lose the dexterity of your fingers, which you never want to lose. You want to have that dexterity, There is a town in North Ontario, dream, comfort, memory to spare. In my mind I still need a place to go. All my changes were there. Blue window behind the stars. Yellow moon on our eyes. Keeps us helpless, helpless, helpless. That was a great tune, huh? That's a 3-chord tune, but it's such a pretty song. And I think everyone that follows Neil Young or Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young remembers that tune, right? It's it's amazing. Allie Brooks, thank you for the G clef there. Very cool. Vicky O'Quinn, me too, you lose your calluses too. Yeah, I need to play more. You have to. Yeah, if you lose your calluses, then it actually hurts to play, I used to play this tune my mother used to love, and it was a standard, I'm sure it's going to ring a bell for some of you guys. Mean to me, why must you be mean to me? Gee, honey, but can't you see? You love to see me crying. I stay at home each night when you say you'll phone. You don't, and I'm left alone, singing the blues and crying. You treat me coldly each day of the year. You never phone me whenever somebody's near. Dear, it must be great fun to be mean to me. You wouldn't if you could see just what you mean to me. I'm not sure who wrote that. Thank you, Diane McGinn. Hoop, yeah, I'm having Melanie Little on my show tonight. Melanie is fantastic. I think she's destined to become a YouTube star. She is so good, Paula Valter, thank you. Holly Golightly, good to see you. Thanks, Bill. Tina Wright, well, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. 93 in the chat, 92 with the thumbs up. Allie Books, nice soothing voice. There's a tune by Billy Joel. Both Billy Joel and Paul McCartney wrote a great bedtime tune and a lullaby, if you will. And I think Billy Joel wrote it for his daughter. But the one that the Beatles do, now it's time to say good night, sleep tight, dream sweet dreams for me, dream sweet dreams for you. Close your eyes and I'll close mine. Dream right, sleep tight. Now the sun turns out its light. Good night, sleep tight. Now the sun turns out its light. Good night, sleep tight. Paul McCartney, what a great songwriter too. Now, now I'm thinking of what the Billy Joel one was. Good night, my angel, time to say good night and save these questions for another day. That's beautiful, beautiful song. I don't know all the words to that, but the melody he wrote for that. La 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 da 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 da. I think that's enough songs for today. Guys, I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter today. I got a lot to do. I want to thank everyone for joining me. A lullaby, yeah. Those lullabies are great. Sing them to your kids or your grandkids or whatever when you want to help them go to sleep. It really does help, you know. Nothing puts a kid to sleep more than a lullaby and the bottle in their mouth, and they just fall asleep. Thank you, Janelle Woodward. Thank all you guys for coming by today. Please come by tonight, 9 p.m. Myself, Detective Phil, and Melanie Little are going to cover the Lori Vallow case, and we'd love for you guys to join us. Have a great day, everyone. God bless, and I'll see you tonight at 9.